Namaste, Mataji.
Namaste.
We feel very blessed to have you here today on the show, Mataji. Thank you for coming. And Mataji, today I have two very practical questions which everyone has. And so we want to ask you. And the first question is how to keep the mind on God amongst our worldly responsibilities.
It's a very good question because for a spiritual aspirant, he always feels that should be done. No matter what our duties in life, it is important to keep our mind on God. Keep up your sadhana, your spiritual practice, morning and evening. If you sit and concentrate on God, an undercurrent of that divine bhav will remain in your mind. So that way you can keep in touch with the divine even in the midst of all your duties. In fact, that is one of the principles of Karma Yoga. Because when you are doing a work, whether it is at home, in the office, whatever we are doing, you actually can't be doing two things, isn't it? You have to concentrate on the work at hand. But if I have done my practice well, spiritual practice well, there will be a bhav within me of surrender to the Lord, of devotion to the Lord, which will persist in the midst of all my duties. So, it's a very high yogic state actually. When you are doing what is required to be done at the moment, but your mind is imbued with God consciousness. And there is a beautiful story actually demonstrating this, which I can tell you.
Yes, Mataji.
Swami Vivekananda mentions this story in his Karma Yoga. So there he says that there used to be a yogi who lived in a forest, did a lot of austere spiritual practice, and attained some amount of yogic powers. And now he was very proud. So one day he saw that there was a swan sitting on a tree, and it put some droppings. So he looked at it with anger and it got burnt up. So that kind of power he had developed. So now he was very proud that I have yogic powers. I did so much of tapasya, now I have power. So then he comes to a village to beg for his food, and there he knocks at a door, and the lady of the house tells him, please wait, I'll come, I'll give you your alms. And then the pride is there, so he feels, how dare she make me wait? And she comes after a good half an hour, and she says, I had to serve my husband and my parents-in-law, so then only I can offer you food. I am not that crane whom you burnt in the forest. So don't be angry. So then at once the yogi understands how is it that she knows that incident.
Right.
So he asks her, mother, how did you come to know of this? Then she says, look, I have served dutifully, but with the true spirit of Karma Yoga, surrender to the Lord within myself, maintaining the deep inner divine consciousness, and then doing all my duties meticulously. So that way I have gained all the powers which you have. You see, you have gained this little power with your austerities in the forest and you think you are a mighty yogi. I have gained those powers automatically without your so-called austerity, just by doing my duties. So it is possible to do this if you have the right frame of mind. That is why I say keep up your spiritual practices in such a way. Not just this much, the story goes on. She tells him, you want to learn more about this Karma Yoga? Go to the Vyad, the butcher. He will teach you.
Yes.
And the yogi is again taken aback. I should learn from a butcher. But when he goes there, he sees the butcher is such an enlightened person. The job he is doing is cutting meat. But the full blossoming of consciousness is there in him. And he gives out his teaching, how you can keep your mind on God and at the same time do your duty. And by doing that, how your very action becomes a yoga. It becomes Karma Yoga. And it will take you to the highest. So that's called Vyadha Gita. So you see, it is possible to do this. The only problem with us is our mind is and our memories are, sullied with all kinds of impressions. So we are not able to keep the consciousness of God, and so then you hurriedly want to finish your duties or you ignore them. This is all happening only because of lack of spiritual practice. If there is sufficient sadhana, yoga in life, you will see you can easily do this. You do your duties as well as you can. At the same time, your mind is at peace and at the feet of God.
So we start the day with spiritual sadhana.
Start the day with spiritual sadhana, end the day with spiritual sadhana. The times of dawn and dusk, preserve it for spiritual sadhana. And do your duties meticulously with a bhav. Bhav means with a particular kind of understanding and emotion within you, that it is an offering at the feet of the Lord. Holy Mother gives very practical advice on this. She says, see, how do you keep your mind on God throughout the day? She says, do your duties, and at the end of the day, at least shed 2 tears for Him, for the Lord. Because all works are His, all objects are His, your very energy is His, but those 2 tears are yours. If you offer them to the Lord, which means you have raised your emotions to God in devotion, they have become devotion now. She says, if you offer those 2 teardrops to the Lord, He will become bound to you. That is what He wants. See, this is the way to maintain the state of God consciousness in the midst of the duties of life. Holy Mother's advice is the ultimate in anything. Just read her life and her advice, and you will see most practical advice to any situation she gives you.
So any work, Mataji, we do at the end of the day, we surrender to God.
Surrender deeply to God at the end of the day. Even when you begin your work, you surrender to the Lord. Because after all, what you are calling work is nothing but the expression of energy. And whose is the energy?
God's energy.
God's energy. You are only an instrument for the channeling of that energy. That's all. Everything already belongs to Him. So even using the word surrendering to the Lord is a little strange because it already belongs to Him. But our deep devotion, that is to be offered, because as she says, your tears belong to you. The upsurge of devotion will bring tears. If that state happens every day, think of it, you will become a saint. Vivekananda also says this, if you weep for God for a few minutes, you won't know where you are in the next few days. Such an impact it leaves on the mind. So devotional attitude and inner transformation, and then any work will become a yoga.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. And Mataji, one more thing, how to deal with a crisis. Sometimes we are faced with situations where we are very indecisive, we don't know what to do. So how to deal with that situation?
See, the psychological answer to this is, you have to bring yourself into a state of extreme calmness and balance within to handle a crisis. Otherwise, when we are in a compulsive mode, you will take wrong decisions. So, a perpetual state of calmness and balance comes again with sadhana. Your very voice will be calm and soothing. The very expression of your face and your movements will be calm. This state is very important for the right decisions to happen. Let me again quote Holy Mother. She gives a very, very beautiful understanding of what to do in a crisis. It is there in her life. I think you should read that portion. I'll just give it out here. She gave this advice to a great monk of the Ramakrishna order, Swami Shantananji Maharaj. She says, in the time of a crisis, withdraw a little into yourself. Pray deeply, do a lot of japa. In this period, keep your body and mind pure. Don't talk much. Just dwell on the divine. Do intense japa and meditation. Only think of the divine and plead to the divine for help. Ask for my help, she says. Ask for my help. And if you don't get a response, know for certain that your mind has not yet risen to the plane where you will get my response. So continue your spiritual practice. Intensify your japa and meditation. You will get my response. You will get my response. And that is the way out of a crisis. I myself will tell your buddhi what decision you should take. Mother says this, Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi. So there is a way of appealing to the divine to give us the right buddhi and decision at that moment. If you are in a fairly balanced state of mind, you can actually do your japa and meditation very well and come into this understanding. The divine will guide you. You will take the right decision. But if we ourselves are absolutely, unstable within ourselves, neither can you do your japa, nor can you appeal to the divine. So then you block the way to divine guidance. That is why I insist on sadhana. Every life which has invested a little into spiritual practice will be a very balanced, stable and mature life. And when we have ignored this essential part of our evolution, then we are at the mercy of a number of factors outside.
Yes.
You will go by majority opinion, or you will go in through by some compulsive emotion. So that is not the way to take decisions. So take care of this, especially in times of difficulty. This comes as a huge aid. And look at the lives of the masters. How did they handle the vicissitudes of their lives?
Yes, Mataji.
How did they handle the ups and downs? Every life has to face these things. Only some lives are mature enough to grow from within, develop spiritually, and handle anything in their lives very maturely. And some are not.
So with spiritual practices, the mind calms down, and in a crisis, it doesn't get agitated
Yes.
and withdraws itself inside, and
Yes.
then we can take a better decision.
Brings out a solution from within. It will bring out a very mature solution from within. See, even children do this. Have you seen? When they are shocked about something, they will quietly withdraw.
Yes.
There may be tears in their eyes, but they have withdrawn into an inner space where they think clearly, or they resort to their mother, ask for a solution. Even children do this.
Yes.
But they don't go just by compulsive tendencies. So, adult should all the more be like this, isn't it? Because when you have to take major decisions, a lot will depend on the state of your mind,
Yes.
which depends on your level of consciousness. So take care of the inner life. That is why I insist. You will shine in the outer world if you have taken care of your inner life.
Yes, Mataji.
Otherwise, the world consumes us, overwhelms you, unless there is an inner stable platform upon which you function.
That's true, Mataji. So thank you so much, Mataji, for enlightening us today again. Thank you.
Jai.
Jai.